தேசிய மொழிகள் மேம்பாட்டு சமத்துவ திட்டத்தின் கருத்தரங்குகள் நேற்று ஆரம்பித்தன. இன்றும் தொடரும் கருத்தரங்கிலே அடுத்து கௌரவ விசேட அதிதியின் உரை இடம்பெற இருக்கிறது. விசேட அதிதியாக இங்கு வந்து கலந்து சிறப்பிக்கும் வெளிநாட்டு அலுவல்கள் அமைச்சின் மேலதிக செயலாளர் திரு அமீர் அஜ்வாட் அவர்கள் சமூக இசைவு மற்றும் நல்லிணக்கம் நோக்கிய பாதையில் மொழி சமத்துவம் என்ற தலைப்பிலே உரையாற்ற இருக்கிறார்.
හොඳයි සියලු දෙනාටම නැවතක් ඔබ තාමත් අසුන්ගෙන නැත්නම් සියලු දෙනාටම ආරාධනා කරන හැකියක්මකින් අසුන් ගන්න. අපේ දිව ආහාරයට පසු සැසිය ආරම්භ වන්නේ සුවිශේෂී පුද්ගලයෙක් සමග ඔහු විදේශ සේවයේ නියුතු තාමත්ම දක්ෂ නිලධාරියෙක්, ඒ වගේම අත්දැකීම් බහුල, ඒ වගේම නිපුණතා රසකින්, ඒ වගේම සම්මාන ජාතික වගේම ජාත්‍යන්තර සම්මාන වලින් පිදුම් ලැබූ චරිතයකට අපි තව සුළු මොහොතකින් වේදිකාව භාර කරන්නේ. So we'll be now inviting our guest speaker in the after lunch session. So after lunch session we'll start with a speech by our guest speaker. So we have a brief introduction that we would like to do to our guest speaker. Well, he's a very eminent career diplomat and presently heading the performance review and implementation, human resource development, research and training division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka. And he recently served as Sri Lanka's ambassador to the Sultanate of Oman with the concurrent accreditation to the Republic of Yemen as well. Well, he has a proven illustrious track record at the international level in the United Nations in Geneva. He has served as a coordinator and also a spokesman of the Asian group of human rights experts of the UN Human Rights Council during the institution building process of the UNHRC from 2007 to 8. And also he has chaired and also been part of many UN conferences and sessions as well. Well, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, he has held several positions including economic, legal, bilateral and UN and multilateral as well as consular affairs. Well, he was the head of political division in charge of the East Asia and Pacific affairs of the Foreign Ministry as well. He holds a master's degree in law with the specialization in human rights law from the University of Colombo, also a bachelor's degree in arts, a BA from the University of Peradeniya, and a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Colombo as well, and also was admitted to the bar as an attorney at law of the Supreme Court in Sri Lanka in 1997. He receives the Sri Lanka Presidential National Youth Award for both oratory and essay writing in a single year, that's in 1988. And he was also a radio presenter of a youth program in the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, SLBC, from 95 to 98 as well. Well, he was selected as Person of the Year 2021, selected as Person of the Year 2021 by the World Growth Forum magazine for creating milestones in diplomacy and bilateral relations. He has recently authored a book titled Sri Lanka-Oman Relations, Past, Present and the Future. So it's a real honor to have him this afternoon in our midst, and we'd like to very warmly invite our guest speaker, Ambassador Omar Lebbe Amir Ajwad. Let's put our hands together and welcome our guest speaker on stage.
Thank you very much for that generous introduction. Professor N. Selvakumaran, I wanted to address him first because he's my teacher in law. So, yes, sir. And Mr. Anuradha Vijayakon, Additional Secretary. Mr. Michael Emblem, Director, NLEAP, and my dear participants. Ayubowan, Wanakam, and Assalamu alaikum, and good afternoon. It is my privilege to participate at this timely and topical symposium and to share a few thoughts with you this afternoon. I know this after lunch speech is a bit of difficult time, but I'll endeavor to keep you awake. It is not an exaggeration to say language brings peace to a nation. Why and how? Language means mutual communication. Mutual communication means mutual understanding. Mutual understanding means social cohesion and tolerance. Social cohesion and tolerance leads to reconciliation, which eventually brings peace to the nation. I think I have covered my topic, so even if you say I can come and sit down, I'll be, because it's easy for you also to understand. So this is my gist of my speech. Well, in fact, I wish to share some thoughts this afternoon based on this premise. When I served in Geneva, I recollect an incident I want to share with you. An ambassador of a prominent country at a UN session opted to address the chairperson of that session in chairperson's mother tongue rather than ambassador's own mother tongue, which is in fact given translation, UN translation. He said, "Mr. President, although I could," I'm quoting him, "although I could use my own mother tongue, I speak in your own mother tongue, because I want to make you understand better. I want to make you understand my position better, loud and clear." So I wanted to show this, share this example to show the purpose of a language and the benefits of being bilingual or multilingual. So this incident I recollected when I was approached by the organizers to speak on this topic. Therefore, my speech this afternoon will include the following. 1. What is language? 2. Why do we need to preserve our native languages? 3rd, how language equality helps to ensure social cohesion and reconciliation. The 4th, what is the way forward? So these are the 4 things or items I would discuss this afternoon with you. What is language? My first item is, what is language? I know it's difficult to grasp this after lunch, but I try to make things short to better you understand me. Encyclopedia Britannica defines language as follows: language as a system of conventional spoken, manual, or written symbols by means of which human beings as members of a social group and participants in its culture express themselves. So this is language. Meaning of language. Definition of language. The meaning of language, therefore, is a system by means of which human beings as members of a social group and participants of its culture express themselves. I wish to underline the following phrases: as members of a social group and participants in its culture. Britannica also defines the term social group as many kinds of aggregations of humans. Aggregations that include the total population of a large nation state. In other words, social group means one unit of all kinds of aggregations of human beings of a nation. The second phrase denotes that they are also participants in its culture. In other words, the members of the social group are also participants of this group's culture. Hence, a language of every human being of a nation state is an integral part of the cultural heritage owned by all members of the social group of that particular nation, and it is also a national asset. Further, the language used by a member of the social group of a nation state needs to be understood by the fellow members of the group for mutual understanding, in order to interact among themselves and to conduct their day-to-day affairs. This is the very purpose of a language. It is like a family unit. A husband needs to understand wife's language. Otherwise, how can they interact themselves and run a family? How can they build family bonds? The family eventually collapses if they don't understand each other. The same is applicable to a bilingual family of a nation state. Understanding each other's language is a necessity, a national priority. So it is in this spirit of ownership and necessity that we need to commit ourselves to implement our official language policy. So I'm coming to my second part of my speech. Why do we need to preserve our native or national languages? Why? According to the UNESCO reports, there are about 7,000 languages spoken around the world today. But linguistic diversity is increasingly threatened as more and more languages disappear at an alarming rate. And when a language disappears, it takes with it an entire culture and intellectual heritage. So, to address this serious issue, Director General of UNESCO suggests, I quote, UNESCO urges governments to embrace multilingual education based on the mother tongue from the earliest years of schooling. We know it works. There is empirical evidence to prove it helps children learn. End of quote. Further, UNESCO research shows that education in mother tongue is a key factor for inclusion and quality learning. And it also improves learning outcomes and academic performance. This is crucial, especially in primary schools, to avoid knowledge gaps and increase the speed of learning and comprehension. UNESCO reports. And most importantly, multilingual education based on the mother tongue empowers all learners to fully take part in society. It fosters mutual understanding and respect for one another and helps preserve the wealth of culture and traditional heritage that is embedded in every language around the world. Again, UNESCO reports this. To this end, UNESCO supports bilingual and multilingual education at all levels of education as a means of promoting both social and gender equality. Again, I quote from the UNESCO. Every year on 21st February, the world celebrates International Mother Language Day. International Mother Language Day. The day is an essential platform to promote the importance of cultural and linguistic diversity and multilingualism for peaceful and sustainable societies. We, ladies and gentlemen, need to make use of such arrangements internationally and platforms such as these to promote and protect our national languages. Those are our national heritage, national assets. By promoting, but we all have agreed or gathered here to promote OLP. Otherwise, as our additional secretary, Mr. Vijay Kon, said yesterday, we shall eventually end up losing our own languages and our own culture. So that's UNESCO alarms us not to do so. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to my third part. How language equality helps to ensure social cohesion and reconciliation. That's my third part. Ladies and gentlemen, language is a fundamental aspect of inclusion and equity. Inclusive communication is vital for building trust, understanding, and empathy among different groups to foster social cohesion and to facilitate reconciliation. Equal promotion and protection of native languages would help us to achieve the following. Firstly, it reduces barriers to communication and promotes inclusivity and sense of ownership. Secondly, it ensures that all members of the society, regardless of their linguistic background, have equal opportunities to participate in public, social, cultural, educational spheres. Thirdly, embracing language equality can have significant economic benefits. Sri Lanka's multicultural identity is a unique selling point that can attract tourists, foreign investors, and foster international partnerships. Our linguistic equality could create opportunities for economic growth, cross-cultural collaborations, cross-provincial cooperation and collaborations, domestic tourism, and cross-provincial trade, which eventually create environment for international trade. Fourthly, language equality encourages intercultural dialogue and understanding. It opens doors for understanding of diverse perspectives, beliefs, and worldviews. This understanding fosters empathy, tolerance, and respect for each other's faiths, which are crucial for social cohesion and reconciliation in a multicultural societies. Fifthly, language equality can play a significant role in promoting reconciliation by fostering a sense of shared ownership over the process of healing and rebuilding. The wounds of the past can only heal if we embrace linguistic diversity. Sixthly, ensuring language equality helps to guaranteeing non-recurrence of conflicts, which is one of the 4 pillars of transitional justice, which supports reconciliation process. Seventhly, there are success stories around the globe for implementing the official bilingual or multilingual policies, help to maintain peaceful coexistence and social cohesion. Canada is the most suitable success story to Sri Lanka's context. We take this opportunity to thank the government of Canada for extending their unstinted support and assistance to implement our official language policy, which is very important to this country. Switzerland, Belgium, and Finland are also other success stories around the globe for implementing official bilingual and multilingual policies. My fourth and last topic of my speech, the way forward. So what is the way forward? We heard why we should, we heard that what is language and why we should protect our languages and how language equality helps us to ensure social cohesion and reconciliation, and what is the way forward to implement this official language policy in this country. As we are all aware, language played a controversial role in our country. We all agree that. We all agree that. However, the official language policy of Sri Lanka is now well established and guaranteed in the Constitution of Sri Lanka is the supreme law of the land. Accordingly, Sinhala and Tamil languages are recognized as official languages, enjoying equal status, and the English language as a linked language. The use of each language for official purposes has been specifically provided for in the Constitution. By successive governments, numerous laws, regulations, and circulars have been passed to ensure effective implementation of this OLP policy, OLP, including the Gazette Notification number 1620 of 2009, declaring that it is compulsory that all state institutions must carry out work and make available documents in both languages. This is our own Gazette notification. We have also established a statutory body named the Official Language Commission, OLC, which is an implementing arm of the OLP. It is mandated to recommend language policy, promote the use and appreciation of official languages, and conduct inquiries in response to any complaints on the violation of language laws. OLC also launched its official website in 2022, marking a significant milestone recently towards building awareness on its work and promoting public engagement in addressing violations of language rights. Further, to facilitate implementation of the OLP, the then Ministry of National Languages and Social Integration of Sri Lanka published a guidebook in 2013 for the preparations of language plans by the public institutions. Further, to ensure consistent exchange, understanding and synergistic implementation of the official language policy, several ministries and institutions are engaged in the National Language Equality Advancement Project called NLEAP, along with civil society organizations. The NLEAP, which supported this symposium, thanks to the Government of Canada, again, to assuring a robust accountability mechanism for all contributors to OLP implementation within the country. This also includes annual reporting by the OLC to the Sri Lanka Parliament. Yesterday, during the panel discussions, we came to know many initiatives and actions that were taken by the government departments, including Sri Lanka Police, Health Department, the judicial authorities, as well as civil society organizations. They are promising developments, indeed. However, as our Honorable Prime Minister pointed out yesterday, during the inauguration of this very symposium, the implementation process of the OLP is very slow. So, what is the way forward? I think we need to have short, medium, and long-term plans to address the issue of slow implementation process of the OLP. I wish to make a few suggestions to address this issue. Firstly, short-term plan. First and foremost, we should take action introducing official language policy from the earliest years of schooling to our children. When we implement this, our future generation will need not to resort to translations. Second, a national task force comprising all the stakeholders, headed by the Ministry of Public Administration, needs to be established with a view to taking stock of the progress, taking concerted action in identifying barriers and challenges, finding solutions, and accelerating the implementation process of the OLP. I'm glad to inform you, as also mentioned by the Secretary to the Public Administration yesterday, a cabinet paper has been prepared with a strategy framework for the implementation of the OLP prepared by the Public Administration, Home Affairs. This is a great and promising move. This strategy would be a basis for mainstreaming the practice of OLP for the delivery of language services. A roadmap, I understand, also has been prepared, benchmarking OPL actions with this strategy framework, and that will be soon submitted to the cabinet, and if is passed, and we have a roadmap, and we will be in a good position to implement it, and that can be, that kind of the strategy framework could be implemented by this task force to make it fast track. Thirdly, working out a reasonable time frame for the phased implementation of the policy, since it would be unrealistic to attempt a total transformation overnight. It's not practical. Fourthly, setting out strategies and incentives for implementation that we have already done, the strategies, and then we need to introduce incentives for those bilingual language learners. A public advocacy program of bilingualism through media and social media should be initiated. That's a very important, it's a must, because this is the age of social media. So we need to make awareness of this bilingualism, the importance of bilingualism, importance of preserving our languages, importance of preserving our national assets to be initiated. These media campaigns should be made available. Next, new entrants to the important all island services need to acquire a prescribed level of proficiency in Sinhala or Tamil, whichever is not their mother tongue, within a specified period of time or before reaching a stipulated salary point. Now we see this as a necessity when we are implementing our action plans in our ministries. And we come across challenges of this, the language, the lack of the bilingual abilities or proficiencies. Educate translators of both languages to be appointed and trained. These are as a short term. The midterm suggestions. Provision of staff capable of working in both official languages in the crucial geographical and administrative sectors, areas mixed population and service-oriented departments should be provided. Conducting of a national survey to do empirical groundwork for implementation of OLP. Development of curricula for language training relevant to the context of administration. Thirdly, a long-term plan. First, I would like to suggest setting up of a comprehensive training and orientation program to make all government servants bilingual. This is a long-term plan. Secondly, extension of the implementation of the OLP to all departments and regions not covered during the midterm period. So these are long-term plans that we could think of. In addition, I also wish to propose OLC another idea or proposal. We need to prepare a suitable module to teach Sinhala or Tamil for the children of Sri Lankans living overseas, in order to provide an opportunity for them to learn their native languages. We are all aware the Sri Lankan origins, the migrated Sri Lankans, are living all over the world. They are living in the West, living in the Middle East, they are living in other Eastern countries, Asian countries, Australia, and all over the world. Our population is spread all over the world. So then they are all having the Sri Lankan origins. We call them overseas Sri Lankans. So their children are the second generation. So they don't have the opportunity to learn their mother tongues. So we need to give an opportunity to them to learn either Sinhala or Tamil or both together, to provide an opportunity to them. This is our responsibility, because they are our nationals, our Sri Lankans, so living abroad. So then you will be able to connect them back to your homeland, and also then you can make use of their contribution to the country. So this project, to implement this project, of course there is a recent initiative by His Excellency the President. He has established an office for coordinating overseas Sri Lankans under the President's Secretariat. Now that office is planning many activities to reconnect Sri Lankans abroad, to get them back, to reconnect them, and to get their services or contribution to the country, even investments. So this project, these modules can be taught to those children through this office, making use of this office services and Sri Lanka embassies abroad, to teach them our own national languages, to provide them an opportunity to make them, or to make them feel the ownership of this country. So that is one of my humble proposal to the OLC to think of. Finally, just 2 minutes. In conclusion, I wish to point out that Sri Lanka has established a well-defined official language policy, guaranteed in the Constitution of Sri Lanka, and has also set up implementing arms of the policy. It is therefore the responsibility of each and every public and private institutions to fast-track the implementation process of the OLP for our own national interest and international, and this will help us to build our image internationally. This will also help us for our international standing. Having said that, to be part of the multi-ethnic and multicultural environment, learning, fostering, and sustaining our national languages is a national priority, as it is gradually heading towards the grounds of reconciliation in post-conflict Sri Lanka. So having said that, I thank you for this opportunity and to share my few thoughts, and then which is it's very important. I think this is the future of our country, so let's work together, commit ourselves to implement this, because we have well-established policies and framework. Thank you very much.
சமூக இசைவு மற்றும் நல்லிணக்கம் நோக்கிய பாதையில் மொழி சமத்துவம் என்ற தலைப்பிலே மொழி என்றால் என்ன போன்ற 4 தலைப்புகளில் மிக தெளிவானதொரு உரையை ஆற்றிய வெளிநாட்டு அலுவல்கள் அமைச்சின் பணிப்பாளர் நாயகம் திரு அமீர் அஜ்வார் அவர்களுக்கு எங்களுடைய மனமார்ந்த நன்றி.